the Hollywood Actor Podcast with Sonja O'Hara, Part 3.
Well, that's so exciting on so many levels. I mean, the industry taking notice of somebody that's so proactive, the industry learning that audiences and the industry itself is changing, and they're wanting to change with it. They're being so accepting that the world is how it is and not how it is represented in the movies and how it has been represented in the movies for so long. And they're willing to take those general meetings with people, which
crazy.
used to be a lot more of something that was done, especially with casting directors. People used to have generals, and agents would submit an actor, and they'd go in and get at least a chance to meet with a casting director, so that the town could start to get to know new talent. And that doesn't really happen so much anymore. But maybe that's a new trend, a trend that's kind of coming back into style.
I kind of couldn't believe it. And then after all of that happened, and I ended up getting, kind of my dream agency, I started getting those general meetings that you talked about that I didn't know still existed. And I would get like meetings with casting directors. But the very funny thing is, now that I'm a filmmaker too, instead of it being me going into that meeting and just wanting something from that casting director, like, hey, cast me, suddenly I was able to say to them, like, hey, I'm developing this new series and I need a casting director. Like, maybe you can work on that and maybe we can collaborate. And then they were looking at me like, oh, cool. Like, you're not just trying to get something from me. And then they became more generous and excited to be like, I might potentially have a role for a redhead in this thing that I'm casting. And it became sort of like a give and take and more of like a friendship and less me putting them on a pedestal. And that's been the most interesting thing that's come out of it. Like, everyone just wants to meet cool people to like make work with together. Like, I don't know, it just changed sort of the power struggle that I feel like, where actors look to the rest of the industry like we're like at the bottom of the totem pole, and that everyone else, casting and executives, are like at the top. And it's been really interesting seeing that change.
Well, as I've learned since drama school, I and a lot of people go to those schools, go to those conservatories, BFA, MFA, do classes to add value to themselves as actors, as storytellers. We're in a little bit of a different time now where we're content creators, where we have to put on those different hats, and we have to create value for ourselves more than just as an actor, but creating that thing that people want, that we can offer people is paramount to our success as actors, but as creatives here.
Right. And like, I can't say enough good things. Like, for me, writing the kind of roles of how I wanted the world to see me and making those things happen, then I started being offered roles that were like what I was looking for from the rest of the industry. But I was also learning that I had more to value. I fell in love with the process of making this kind of art and being a storyteller. And it just changed my entire perspective on the kind of career that I wanted. Like, it became this really, I don't know, I felt like it opened a million doors for me. And now I'm telling everyone I know, as an actor, you have stories to tell, like, make them yourself, like, go and learn how to do that. Like, we all have that capability. We don't just have to wait for other people to give us permission to act.
Yeah, we're so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's more of a holistic view to look at it like that. And I continue to embrace it as much as I can while balancing out all the other little things that we have while making our way as human beings here in Hollywood, which is a great segue to how do you, Sonja, how do you plug in on a weekly basis to your life now that you've established it pretty firmly here in Hollywood?
I mean, it's interesting. Like, I'm trying to maintain a balance where my career isn't my entire life. And I have to say that I do struggle with that sometimes. Like, people will be like, how do you do it all? And the reality for me is that I don't. Like, I am a bit of a workaholic, and I do spend most of my days like creating work and auditioning for other people's work and like doing this creative stuff. But I'm also trying to make sure I run every week, not to be like fit and look hot for my auditions, but because running for me is sort of a meditation. And it's the one time that I'm not like obsessing. It like gets me out of my head. And I used to do a ton of yoga. Like, that was another thing that I really loved doing. And right now and this is like so random, but my roommate and I are fostering feral kittens. And like, it feels really nice to be doing something that's not about me and not about my career for a second, when the rest of the time that's what I'm always obsessing about. Instead, I'm like, how can I like help these, little lost animals, So it's like just trying to make sure that I keep my life not so entirely self-obsessed with this business, because I think otherwise you can go a little insane.
Yeah, I'm sure you've experienced this since you moved to the States, but here we really prioritize that work, 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 keep your nose to the grindstone. And if you don't, then you're slacking off. Then somebody else is getting the opportunity. Then someone else will beat, because you're in the Olympics of this and you have to be working all the time. And that's not really how the world works. That's an idealized version of the working man, working woman. But that's not how we actually balance our lives. And those people that don't fully balance their lives, they have problems.
Yes, and I try to keep a bit of like an office hours thing. Like, it's not that if I don't have like a writing deadline that I won't do a bender and write all weekend, but in general, I try to operate my business of like, okay, from 9 a.m. to like 5 p.m., I will be structured and working on my career. But in my evenings, if I want to chill out and watch Netflix or, whatever, like I don't shame myself for wanting to do things outside of just obsessively like doing my career. I think that's important, because then I think that when we're on, we're able to give our all and we're not sort of getting burnt out.
Yeah. And we're in it for the long haul. This is a lifetime career that we're always learning and struggling at.
I'm going to do this at 98. Like, I love this career more
Yeah.
than anything in the world. And we're really fortunate to get to be storytellers. And yeah, I want to never get so sick of this industry by pushing myself in a way where I feel like I suddenly resent it, I mean, there are times that everyone resents what they do, but in general, I know how lucky I am to get to do this.
That's awesome, Sonja. Is there anything that you'd like to say? I mean, I use this podcast also as a platform for guests to talk about any work that's coming up for them, or anything that, like, little pearls of wisdom that they have, or even general musings that you've been thinking of that you've come to like these larger realizations about that you do want to communicate to the community. I want to have this as a space for the community to check in with each other.
I mean, for me, I think that I am dorkily obsessed with using New Year's resolutions as a way to sort of structure my year. Like, I will do 10 resolutions a year where I break down into micro goals the things that I want to achieve, whether that's like, okay, if I want to ultimately make my next movie, I'll think of it as, okay, well, I need to write the first draft of this screenplay by like March 1st. And I'll hold myself accountable by like posting it on social media. Like, hey guys, I'm going to finish this draft by that date. And then I'll be like, okay, another goal will be to submit it to the Sundance Lab. Like, I can't control whether it will get in or anything else, but I can control doing the work and holding myself accountable. So I'll make my resolutions to be a bunch of things that are doable daily tasks that will like get me towards my goal. And I'll have a printed out version on my fridge, and it's like my lock screen on my phone, and it's like the first thing I look at every day. And it's totally cheesy, but like, I have a vision board, and before I ended up signing with WME, I had that logo on there, and I knew that it was like a goal that I wanted. And this is so specific, but I had a picture of the Egyptian theater at the Sundance Film Festival on this vision board, and I looked at it every day. And yes, I was doing everything I could to be submitting scripts and movies to Sundance, but the way that I actually ended up getting to Sundance was I was cast in a feature film that shot at Sundance last year. And it was like an improv film where I was like followed around with a camera the whole time. And it was a feature called On the Corner of Ego and Desire. And this year the movie came out and is on the festival circuit right now. And it's kind of a really beautiful feature. It's one of my first big leading roles in a movie like that. And yeah, and it's going to be coming out on VOD and on demand and everything next month. So you can look for the trailer for that online, called On the Corner of Ego and Desire. And yeah, so I think for me, it's just knowing and staying focused and doing one thing towards my career, at least one thing, but something towards my career every day, no matter what. That's been sort of the biggest advice if I'm offering anyone else. It's breaking down your giant goals into small, doable daily tasks.
Thanks for listening to the Hollywood Actor Podcast. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to rate and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening.